The AI race is going crazy. We just saw DeepSeek V4 Pro and Gemini 3.7 Flash, and now Z.ai has dropped GLM-5.3. So today we're going to review this model and put it through some crazy test. GLM-5.3 uses the same base model as GLM-5.2, meaning basically all of its improvements come from post-training, and compared to GLM-5.2, Z.ai says it's much better at complex coding and long-horizon tasks. Z.ai is calling GLM-5.3 the most capable open-weight model for coding, with a 50% improvement over GLM-5.2 on its in-house Z.ai code bench. It also claims open-source soda on public benchmarks like Terminal Bench 3.0 and Agent's Last Exam, even outperforming one of the greatest models ever, Fable 5. And GLM-5.3 is also state-of-the-art on CyberGym for vulnerability discovery. Looking at the benchmarks, Z.ai just released a comparison of GLM-5.3 against a bunch of frontier models. On Terminal Bench 2.1, GLM-5.3 scored 88.2. You can see GPT-Sol is slightly ahead at 88.8, but GLM-5.3 still beats Fable 5. On Terminal Bench 3.0, the model scored 28.3. Fable 5 and GPT-Sol are still ahead here, but things get even crazier on DeepSeek 1.1. GLM 5.3 scored 66.9, coming really close to Fable 5 and GPT-Sol, while outperforming other major models like Qwen 3.8 Max and Opus 4.8. And then we have another benchmark focused on cybersecurity, CyberGym. GLM 5.3 scored 84.5, outperforming all the models shown here, with Fable 5 being one of the closest at 83.8. On GDP-Val AAV2, which rephrased to agent knowledge, GLM 5.3 also comes out ahead of the other models here. So clearly this model is heavily focused on coding, agents, and cybersecurity. And across basically every benchmark, GLM 5.3 shows a major improvement over its previous generation, GLM 5.2. Z.ai also says the model will be open source with the full training details, while its parameter count is only slightly larger than GLM 5.2. Now looking at agentic coding performance across different effort levels, GLM 5.3 is still slightly behind Fable 5, but it clearly outperforms GLM 5.2 and Opus 4.8. But things get even more interesting when we look at its cyber evolution. Z.ai compared GLM 5.3 against world-class models like Claude Mythos 5, and on CyberGym, GLM 5.3 actually beats Mythos. However, on Exploit Bench, Mythos and GPT-Sol are still ahead. And on Exploit Gym, Mythos and GPT-Sol also take the lead. But GLM 5.3 beats Kimi K3 across all of these benchmarks. And this isn't just benchmark testing. Z.ai says the model has been working with several security teams in China to test GLM models against real-world codebases. After expert review, screening, and deduplication, the model identified 2,436 vulnerabilities across 269 projects, including 1,097 medium to high severity issues. These vulnerabilities were found across system kernels, operating systems, browser engines, open-source infrastructure, web applications, and network protocols. And some of these vulnerabilities had apparently gone unnoticed for years, or even decades. The oldest vulnerability they found reportedly dates back roughly 40 years. So yeah, GLM 5.3 is looking seriously interesting. It's not just another model with a slightly higher benchmark score. Z.ai is clearly targeting coding, autonomous agents, and cybersecurity with this one. And honestly, this model is looking absolutely insane. Now, this model is currently only available through ZCode, not Z.ai Chat. So I gave it a pretty challenging front-end prompt. Build a landing page for Nexa Code with some specific design instructions like Claymorphism and neo-brutalism. The model generated a bunch of files, and after working through everything, it finally finished the project. And I'm running this model at maximum effort, which is the highest setting available. Now, this prompt isn't really testing the model's cybersecurity capabilities or its core agentic performance. Instead, it's more of a front-end focused test. I want to see how well GLM 5.3 can actually understand a complex design brief, translate it into a real UI, handle multiple elements, and create a polished graphical experience. And honestly, front-end work like this can be pretty challenging for coding models because it's not just about writing code. The model has to understand the design language, spacing, layout, typography, visual hierarchy, interactions, and how all of these elements work together. So this should give us a pretty good idea of its actual front-end and UI generation capabilities. And the model has generated the full output. So let's take a look at what GLM 5.3 actually built. Oh-ho, looking at the landing page, this actually looks really good. The brutalist design is probably my favorite part. The demo agentic windows, the labels, and those agentic demos all look really solid. Even the terminal shells with the debugging and error states are nicely done. And then you have the pricing section. Honestly, everything just hits. And the crazy part is, this was generated from just a single prompt. The model generated this entire landing page, added working navigation, and actually managed to bring the whole design together. So yeah, GLM 5.3 is definitely looking pretty interesting. But this still isn't a real test of its full capabilities. I'm waiting to test it on some proper real-world coding and agentic tasks once I've fully tried it out. So for now, that's it for this test. Subscribe for more AI tests and crazy model comparisons, and I'll see you in the next one.